The world of film and humanitarian work mourns the loss of Yvonne Lime, the actress whose warm presence on screen in the 1950s and 1960s made her a beloved figure in Hollywood's golden era, and whose lifetime of service off-screen helped reshape support for vulnerable children across the United States and beyond. She passed away peacefully at the age of 90, leaving behind an extraordinary legacy that intersects art, compassion, and civic service. A star emerges in Hollywood's golden decade. Born into a generation of performers who shaped post-war cinema, Yvonne Lime came to prominence in the mid-1950s at a time when Hollywood was defining modern American movies. Her breakthrough came with roles that perfectly captured the spirit of the era, appealing to youthful audiences while displaying a sensitivity that hinted at deeper layers beneath her character's surfaces. In 1956's The Rainmaker, Lime starred alongside Katharine Hepburn and Burt Lancaster in a film that balanced social themes with emotional depth. The movie, now regarded as a classic, showcased her ability to hold her own among towering on-screen talents. Soon after, she delivered one of her most memorable performances in 1957's I Was a Teenage Werewolf, a cult favorite that helped define the genre of youth-oriented cinema that thrived in the late 50s. Her portrayal of the sympathetic girlfriend brought authenticity to a film genre often steeped in sensationalism. Beyond these roles, Lime appeared in a variety of television features and films that reflected the shifting tides of entertainment, from dramas steeped in classic storytelling to lighter pieces that spoke to a generation coming of age amid cultural change. Her performances were marked by natural presence and empathetic ease that endeared her to audiences of all ages. From film to lifelong purpose, the birth of a movement. While Yvonne Lime's work on screen laid the foundation for her fame, it was her unwavering commitment to humanitarian service that defined her life's true mission. In 1959, Lime co-founded Childhelp, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping abused, neglected, and at-risk children. What began as a heartfelt response to the needs of vulnerable young people quickly grew into an institution that would impact millions over subsequent decades. Under her leadership, Childhelp became a national leader in child welfare advocacy, pioneering programs that offered shelter, education, crisis intervention, and healing services for children who had suffered from trauma and neglect. The organization's initiatives helped transform how America approached child abuse prevention and response. For more than half a century, Lime championed the idea that every child deserves safety, love, and the opportunity to thrive. Her belief was simple but profound. Caring for children is not just a social service, it is an obligation we owe to our collective future. A life of service recognized and celebrated. Throughout her life, Yvonne Lime was honored not just for her screen work, but for the impact of her advocacy. Awards and recognition from civic organizations celebrated her contributions to child welfare. Public speaking engagements and media appearances raised awareness of issues long stigmatized or overlooked. She became a role model for entertainers and philanthropists alike, reminding the world that celebrity can be a platform for real social change. Lime's colleagues often described her as relentlessly optimistic, deeply compassionate, and endlessly dedicated, traits that sustained her work long after her days in Hollywood's spotlight had faded. Remembering the human behind the icon. Beyond the accolades and film credits, those who knew Lime personally recall a woman of humility and warmth. She was a mentor to young actors, a tireless advocate to families in need, and a steadfast friend to those whose lives she touched. Her personal philosophy, that every individual, no matter how vulnerable, deserves dignity and opportunity, resonated in her work and in the countless stories of lives changed by her influence. Family members remembered her not just as a public figure, but as a beloved mother, grandmother, and friend whose kindness shaped the course of many lives. The enduring legacy. Yvonne Lime's passing marks the end of an era, but her influence continues, woven into the fabric of both American film history and the ongoing work of Childhelp. Her story reminds us of several timeless truths. That art and activism are not separate realms, but interconnected expressions of humanity. That celebrity carries responsibility, and that using one's platform for good can leave some of the most enduring legacies. That the measure of a life well lived is not only in applause, but in how many lives were uplifted because of it. Today, as tributes pour in from arts communities, child welfare advocates, and people whose lives were touched by her work, the message is clear. Yvonne Lime was more than an actress, she was a force for compassion, a champion for children, and a luminous presence both on screen and in the world. Selected highlights from her career and impact. Clapperboard filmography and screen presence. The Rainmaker 1956, a signature early screen role that positioned Lime among Hollywood's respected actors. I Was a Teenage Werewolf 1957 iconic genre film remembered for its cultural impact and emotional clarity. Numerous television appearances showcased her versatility and depth as a performer. Sparkling heart humanitarian work. Co-founder, Childhelp, grew into one of America's most respected resources for child welfare advocacy. Decades of advocacy, helping millions of children through direct services, education, and public awareness campaigns. Final farewell. Yvonne Lime's life was a testament to the power of purposeful living, one that blended the allure of Hollywood with the grit of real, sustained social change. Her legacy endures not only in the films she graced, but in the millions of children whose lives were touched, protected, and reshaped because she cared enough to act. As the lights dim on one of the 20th century's brightest stars, her influence continues to shine, in stories remembered, lives changed, and futures brighter because of her extraordinary life.